Hello, everyone. My name's Sarah Price, and I'm the face behind the Ease for Mumpreneur brand. I'm holding a webinar this coming Wednesday, the 27th of March at 12 noon GMT, which is London or UK time. You may wonder what qualifies me to be a coach to mumpreneurs. Well, actually, I've been a mumpreneur myself ever since 2005 when my eldest son was 6 months old. To start with, I've always been a languages translator, so translating technical text from French and German into English. But just more recently, I've decided to make the switch to becoming a coach for mumpreneurs because I've been there myself. But I've been on the journey and got the T-shirt. So I've since had 3 more children, and so freelanced my way through 3 more maternity leaves. And I'm now a single parent to 4 children. My eldest son is now 14, and my youngest child is 4 and still at preschool. So I'm very much still sort of doing the work-life juggle on a daily basis. So firstly, in my webinar, my webinar is called 5 Steps to Rapidly Reducing Overwhelm for Mumpreneurs. So my first tip I'm going to tell you about is taking control of your time. And I think my top tip there would be to make sure you've got routines and systems in your business. I know a lot of us probably breathe a sigh of relief when we leave the world of employment. We think, oh, our boss isn't going to impose any routines on us anymore, but actually routines and systems are what make us productive. If you think about babies and young children, we want to sort of get them into a routine as soon as we can because they're creatures of habit. And actually, all of us humans are creatures of habit, us adults too. So it always helps to have a set routine, at least for every day of the week. Just to help us, as I say, to be as productive as we possibly can. Another thing I'm going to talk about in my webinar would be about multitasking and how to actually quit it. I know a lot of people think that it's quite a useful productivity strategy, but that's a myth, in fact, because it just, if we're trying to do 2 tasks at once, or even more than 2, we're doing none of them well, or neither of them well, and we're actually doing them quite half-heartedly, really. So that's not a productivity strategy I'd suggest, really. But one that I would suggest is to do your life tasks as soon as you possibly can. So any of those sort of letters that drop through the door, or a letter coming home from school, some email that you need to respond to, the best advice I could give is to get it done straight away, because otherwise it's just going to go on your to-do list and possibly get forgotten about, or just you're carrying it around in your head for a long time and it just adds to your mental load, which isn't good either, really. So as I say, just best advice to get it done straight away. I'm also going to be talking about don't overestimate what you can do in a day, because it will just lead to a sense of disappointment that you're really not meeting your unrealistic goals, which is never good, really. We want to stay positive in our freelance businesses as much as we possibly can. And I'm also going to be talking about breaking large tasks into smaller chunks, because that always gives us a sense of achievement and fulfillment, which is actually what we're looking for. I'm also going to be talking about how to keep the time you spend on household management tasks to a minimum, so you can spend time doing things that you'd much rather be doing, really, because I don't think all that many of us actually enjoy all these household tasks, apart from my late grandmother, she was sort of a cleanliness freak. She absolutely loved cleaning up and doing all the laundry, but we're not all like that. And then I'm going to be moving on to taking care of yourself as a mumpreneur, because we all wear many hats, both in our business and in our life, and we need to make sure that we're properly rested and energized for doing those tasks. So what I would suggest is, I'm going to be going into more about how to actually look after yourself, because I know we have a tendency to put ourselves at the bottom of the pile, but in fact, if you don't look after yourself, then how can you expect to look after your children optimally and just fulfill all the tasks you need to do in your daily life? Then my last is talking about having the courage to change, because I think they're all of us have things in our lives that we'd like to change, sort of either sort of in our work, like a lot, related to work-life balance, but it can often seem a massive obstacle to sort of try and change that thing. We can see that life's probably going to be better on the other side, but how do we find that motivation to actually overcome what we can sometimes build up in our minds to seem like a massive obstacle? So I am going to be talking more about that, so you can hopefully start to make some positive changes in your life. Well, that's all for now, but I hope you can join me on the webinar on Wednesday, the 27th of March at 12 noon. I'll put the details and a link to sign up just in the notes below.